Hello students, I hope you all are fine at your home. In physics, we are doing unit atoms and nuclei. In our last class, we have discussed nuclear size, nuclear density and mass defect. And if you are now familiar with mass defect, then our today's topic is binding energy. So let's start this topic binding energy. Firstly, I am going to recapitulate the mass defect. Mass defect comes into the play when we are bringing neutrons and protons from infinity and making them to put inside the nucleus. The work done in bringing that nucleons from infinity and binding them inside the nucleus, then we are losing some mass. What that loss of mass is? That is mass defect. It is denoted by delta M. And the formula was given by this equation where Z is atomic number or number of protons. MP is mass of a single proton. A minus Z is number of neutrons. Mn is mass of single neutron, and M suffix capital N is the mass of nucleus. If we are having small n in the suffix, then it is mass of neutron, a single neutron, and if we are having capital N, then it is mass of nucleus. So obviously in a nucleus we are having protons and neutrons only. So the mass of proton and neutrons should be equal to mass of nucleus, but it is not like so. This mass, sum of masses of nucleons is greater than the mass of nucleus. So some mass disappears when we are combining proton and neutron and making a nucleus. That lost mass, that disappeared mass is known as mass defect. This disappeared mass transfers into the energy. That is on this process, bringing the protons and neutrons and putting them inside the nucleus, is an example of nuclear reaction. In this reaction, a lot of energy is releasing. From where that energy is coming, the mass which was disappeared is converting into the energy. This was about mass defect, which we have already done. Now let's start binding energy. Neutron and protons are inside the nucleus, and nucleus is stable. That amount of energy which is used to break this nucleus, to make the protons and neutrons far apart. How much far apart? At infinite distance. That amount of energy is known as binding energy. Means in a nucleus, protons and neutrons are bounded with each other. To make them separate, to make them far apart from each other, the minimum amount of energy required is known as binding energy. And this is the same energy which was released when we combine proton neutrons, when we bring proton neutrons and make a nucleus. At that time, the amount of energy released, that is also the binding energy. So the definition of binding energy is the minimum amount of energy required to separate the nucleons from each other is known as binding energy. And what are the nucleons? Protons and neutrons are the nucleons. To separate the nucleons, the amount of energy required is known as binding energy. And that energy we can calculate with the help of mass defect. We have done the topic energy equivalent to mass was given by this equation. where we have put mass is equals to 1 AMU. Then we get energy approximate 931 mega electron volt. Means if one atomic mass unit mass is disappearing, it is converted into 931 mega electron volt. So binding energy formula is given by this much mass was disappeared into C square using this equation. That was the relation to calculate the relation between the mass and energy. 1 unit of mass was equivalent to this much amount of the energy. Now we having this much mass disappeared. So binding energy is known as mass defect into C square, and we get the value ZmP plus A minus Zmn minus Mn into C square. Mass of all protons, mass of all neutrons, means mass of whole nucleons and mass of nucleus. The difference is mass defect, and its product with the C square is known as binding energy. And the definition is the minimum amount of energy required to separate the nucleons from each other is known as binding energy. So we get the formula for binding energy. But for practical life, we cannot apply this formula. Why? We can calculate mass of all protons, we can calculate mass of neutrons. This is mass of nucleus. We cannot measure mass of nucleus, because whenever we are measuring the mass, we are having atom with us, not the spare nucleus, because electrons are also revolving around nucleus. Sorry. Electrons are also revolving around nucleus, so their mass is also included in that mass of atom. Practically, experimentally, we can calculate mass of atom, not the mass of nucleus. So we need to replace this term. So what we are doing, we can write mass of atom. Suppose this notation I am using for mass of atom. Atom means nucleus plus as well as electrons. So mass of atom is given by mass of nucleus plus Z into Me, where Me is mass of one electron and Z is the number of electrons. So for an atom, we are having nucleus and electrons. Mass of nucleus is Mn and mass of electrons is Z into Me. So we have mass of atom is equals to this. In this equation, we have mass of nucleus. So we calculate from here. Mass of nucleus is equals to Mxaz minus Zme. So mass of nucleus I can calculate using this equation. Directly I cannot use mass of nucleus, cannot measure. So I will measure the mass of atom, I will calculate the mass of all electrons, and their subtraction will give us the mass of nucleus. So we are going to replace this term by this expression. I get binding energy is equals to Zmp plus A minus Zmn. Students, m के suffix में if small n is there, it is mass of neutron, but if capital N is there, this is mass of nucleus. Keep it in your mind. So Mn is this, I am replacing it Here negative sign is there, so it will become negative m x z a. Negative minus ZME, one negative is here, so I get positive ZME C square. I have replaced mass of nucleus by mass of atom minus mass of all electrons. So I get this equation. Now ZMP and ZME, I am combining these two. Binding energy is equals to Z MP plus ME plus A minus Z MN minus M X A Z C square. So I get a new equation for binding energy. Now MP, mass of a proton, single proton. Mass of electron is Me. And in a hydrogen atom, we have a single proton and a single electron. So I can replace this term by mass of hydrogen. Firstly, I am repeating these points. Mass defect we have already done yesterday in previous class. Binding energy is given by this equation. So I am putting the mass defect value here. Now experimentally it's not possible to calculate to measure the mass of nucleus. We can measure the mass of atom. And in an atom, except the nucleus, electrons are also present there. So mass of atom is mass of nucleus plus mass of all electrons. So from here I am calculating mass of nucleus, which is equals to mass of atom minus mass of all electrons. Now replacing this value in this equation, I got this. Now two terms ZMP and ZME, I am taking Z common out. MP plus ME plus A minus Z, number of neutrons into mass of neutron and mass of atom, which can be measured experimentally. I hope up to this point it's clear to you. Now I am rubbing this equation. Now I am saying mass of a single proton plus mass of a single electron. In hydrogen atom there is a one proton and one electron. So I can say mass of proton plus mass of electron is equals to mass of hydrogen atom. So I get a new expression for binding energy, and it is equals to ZMH. Mass of hydrogen atom into Z. Suppose we need to calculate mass of carbon. So I am going to replace Z by 6. 6 times the mass of hydrogen. For oxygen, 8 times the mass of hydrogen plus A minus Z Mn minus Mxaz C square. We can use this equation as well as we can use this equation. Both are similar. Information is there that in a hydrogen atom there is one proton and one electron. So this sum can be replaced by mass of hydrogen atom. So this is the final equation to calculate binding energy, and it is given by Z into MH, A minus Z Mn minus Mxaz. This is mass of atom into C square. Now you know energy is equals to 1 AMU into C square was 931 mega electron volt. When we were using one atomic mass unit, we get energy is equals to 931 mega electron volt. Now we are having this much mass. So binding energy also we can write it as ZmH plus A minus Zmn minus Mxaz into 931 mega electron volt. Because 1 atomic mass unit into C square is 931 mega electron volt. So this much mass into C square, we can replace it this much mass into 931 mega electron volt. So this is the expression for binding energy, and this is that amount of energy which is used to separate the proton and neutrons from the nucleus from each other. So this is the binding energy. Now you know we have various types of atoms. We are having hydrogen, which is having one proton, and we are having uranium also, which is having 100 plus neutrons. So these are the variety which we are having in our periodic table. So binding energy is going to be have very less energy and very high energy. So getting a general review, we are calculating binding energy per nuclear. Binding energy per nucleon. Nucleon means protons and neutrons are collectively known as nucleon. So binding energy which we are calculating here, this is including all protons and neutrons. And per nucleons means to separate one proton or one neutron from the nucleus. This is known as binding energy per nucleon. And its formula will be this. Because how many nucleons are there? This is given by A, mass number. How many protons and neutrons? The sum is given by A. So binding energy per nucleon is given by binding energy upon A. This will give us the general review about all the atoms. Now we are having a graph here. On x-axis we are having mass number, and on y-axis we are having average binding energy per nucleon in mega electron volt. This is very important topic from the point of view of board examinations. So let's start this curve. We get the formula binding energy. We can calculate binding energy per nucleon by dividing it mass number. So binding energy curve, you can see I have drawn a shape. It is having very important details about our periodic table. Binding energy per nucleon tells us about the term stability. If binding energy per nucleon is very high, that means this is showing about the stability of atom. How? Let's see from here. This graph, how we draw this graph? We have calculated binding energy per nucleon for hydrogen, binding energy per nucleon for helium, for lithium, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron, uranium, etc. and so on. We have calculated binding energy for all. Here we are having mass number, and then we are drawing a normal graph as we are drawing in our general topics. On x-axis mass number is there, on y-axis binding energy per nucleon is there, and its unit is mega electron volt. Means so much high amount of energy is there. 10 to the power 6 is its order. So from here you can see for hydrogen, binding energy per nucleon is very small, and for helium binding energy per nucleus is maximum. From graph it is clearly visible. For iron, this is maximum, and for hydrogen it is minimum. For carbon, oxygen, it is having few peaks. For uranium or for heavy atoms, its value is decreasing. So we have few conclusions about this curve, and these conclusions will give us very important details regarding our elements. Its first point is, for mass number lying between 50 to 80, this range 50 to 80, this is representing the most stable nuclei, most stable atoms, because this is having highest amount of binding energy per nucleon. Means large amount of energy is required to separate the nucleons. Binding energy is the energy to separate the nucleons. So for these atoms we need to supply more energy to separate the nucleons. That means they are most stable. If we are supplying a little energy and nucleons get separated, that means their stability is less. So from the graph it's clear, for mass number having lying between 50 to 80, this atoms are most stable because it is having maximum energy. Even we are having lightest elements and we are having the heaviest elements, but the most stable are these one, because for these binding energy per nucleon is maximum. Now second point, for mass number greater than 80, means I am talking about heavy elements, and you know very well heavy elements are radioactive in nature. They are less stable, they are decaying they are emitting few type of radiations through themselves, and their life is getting decreased. They are not properly stable, they are less stable. And what's the reason behind that? Because in heavy elements we have hundreds of protons. I am saying 100 means average, on average. Few are having 90 plus, few are having 110 plus. So these so much protons, all are having positive charge on each other. They are repelling each other because all are having positive charge. You know the size of nucleus is of the order 10 to the power minus 15 meter. Nuclear density is of the order 10 to the power 19 kilogram per meter cube. That means in a small space they are densely packed, they are tightly packed. Till 80 mass number, the repulsive force of the protons was dominated by the binding energy. But for heavier, that repulsive force dominates. They are not stable, they are radioactive, they are emitting few radiations. Now the third point, for A less than 20, means this one, this graph, where not a single curve is there, we have few peaks also. These are also showing binding energy is decreasing. As mass number is decreasing, binding energy is also decreasing. They are very light in nature, so it is also showing they are also less stable. That means by reading these three conclusions, we come to know that very light elements and very heavy elements are not stable. Intermediate elements are most stable, and the reason is binding energy per nucleons. This is maximum for this range elements. The next point is these peaks. You can see helium, carbon, oxygen, all are having even mass number. This graph is showing the experimental observation. They are having binding energy more than those of lithium, nitrogen and fluorine. Means they are more stable than their neighbors. There is a comparison between the stability, and this is showing that even nuclei are little more stable than their neighbors. These are the experimental observations which we are getting from the shapes. You can see on the peaks even nuclei are there. Okay, this thing we have already calculated, binding energy per nucleon using this formula. So, if these are having high binding energy, that means they are more stable as compared to their neighbors only. Note to this. And from here you can see the iron. It is having the maximum binding energy, approx of the order 8.8 mega electron volt. It is per nucleon, binding energy per nucleon. Means from iron metal, if you are ejecting one nucleon from the nucleus, we need this much amount of binding energy. So, moving to next, that's why it is most stable. Moving to next. So, we are saying lighter elements are not stable, heaviest elements are not stable. So, what happens with them? You know, they are radioactive. They are radiating few radiations through them. We are also familiar with the word nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. Fusion means add up, fission means break up. Fusion means add up, fission means break up. That's why these lighter elements are participating in nuclear fusion reaction, and these heavier nuclei are participating in nuclear fission reaction. You have done so many nuclear reactions. In nuclear fission, you are going to use heavier nuclei as the reactants, and in nuclear fusion, you are going to use lighter elements as reactants. They will combine and make a heavy nucleus. They are breaking themselves and making lighter nucleus. They want to come in this range, having the mass number between 50 to 80. Everyone wants stability. They will do combination with each other, they will fuse with each other and will move to this range. They will fission is there. They are going to break up. Radioactivity is there and they will move again to this range of the bed, this bed, having the mass number 50 to 80. So this was about the average binding energy per nucleon graph versus mass number, which is giving us so much information that lighter and heavier elements are not stable. To get stable, nuclear fission and nuclear fusion reactions are there. If we are comparing these lighter elements, then even nuclei are more stable than their neighbors only. Iron is the most stable element. I hope this concept of binding energy is clear to you. If you have any doubt, then please let me know about it. I am going to sort out it. Binding energy per nucleon. Why we replace this by atom? Because we cannot measure the mass of nucleus. Listen this video again and again to get more clear information about binding energy. So for today it's sufficient. Do it thoroughly. Okay students, have a good day.